On this channel, I usually talk with you about Don Bosco, but in today's video, our saint will take a backseat as I instead tell you about a friend and fellow catechist of his. Rather than spend his time and money in vain pursuits, this nobleman devoted both to helping Don Bosco at the Oratory. He might be what you would call an unsung hero. The Miracles and Prophecies of Saint John Bosco, a project of America Needs Fatima. I'm your host, Adrian Fonseca. Subscribe for new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In our journey through the life and legacy of Saint John Bosco, we often focus on the saint himself, but today we'll explore the story of Marquis Dominic Fassati, a noble warrior who became a humble catechist. As we delve into this inspiring tale, keep these themes in mind: the power of humble service, regardless of social status, how one person's dedication can impact countless young lives, the timeless importance of teaching the faith to the youth, and a question to ponder: what sacrifices are you willing to make to help guide young people to God? And if today's story touches your heart, please consider sharing it with others who might need to hear this message of humble service. Now, let me tell you about this unsung hero of the Oratory. I want to introduce you to Marquis Dominic Fassati. Born in 1804, he was 10 years older than Don Bosco. He, his wife Mary, and their family were devout Catholics and very involved in public charity. They ardently supported Don Bosco, and their privileged positions at court were often useful to him. Loyal to his king, Fassati had served him valiantly in war and in peace, distinguishing himself on the battlefields of Lombardy in 1848 and 1849. The king in turn named Fassati commander of his bodyguard. Accustomed to moving among the high and mighty, the Marquis was content to spend his spare time surrounded by the boys of the Oratory. For many years, on feast days and daily during Lent, he would go to the Oratory to teach catechism to a large class of poor artisans. Once arriving somewhat late and finding another catechist in his place, the noble but humble man exclaimed, "It's my fault. I should do penance." Then he sat on a bench with the boys and listened until the end of the class. Never afraid of a challenge, he devised ways to get the boys' attention and arouse their desire to learn about their faith. Unexpectedly, he would fire questions from one pupil to another so that no one knew who would be asked next, forcing them all to pay attention. He rewarded the most diligent students with holy pictures, medals, booklets, and the like. Having fought in the Battle of Lombardy, he had a serious military manner, but the boys liked him so much that they hardly ever missed his class. When they saw him come, they always greeted him with a hearty welcome. In a word, Marquis Fassati maintained such perfect discipline and complete mastery over his students that he might well have been a model teacher. Anxious to learn more about teaching young children, he was not above attending the conferences that Don Bosco gave now and then to his catechist. He used to say that no conversation, no meeting, no social gathering, and he had attended his fair share, however brilliant, was as rewarding as his half-hour catechism class with the Oratory boys. On the last day of Carnival in 1855, when the boys made the exercise for a happy death to help the souls in purgatory, Marquis Fassati remarked, "On the last day of Carnival, Don Bosco's boys helped the souls in purgatory by offering their confessions, holy communions, and prayers. I must do something for them in return." And he did. It was February 20th. More than 100 boarders and many day boys heard Mass early that morning, went to the sacraments, and joined in the prayers for a happy death led by Father Alessonati and suffrage for the holy souls. The boys heroically also offered the discomfort of the exceptionally intense cold that numbed their limbs. They found an unexpected reward on leaving the church: a generous hot breakfast. The holy souls in purgatory seemed to be rewarding them through the Marquis for their brave sacrifices on their behalf. But that was not all the Marquis had in store for them. The generous nobleman wanted the boys to have a meat ravioli for dinner for an extra special treat. Can you imagine? 1,200 raviolis would be needed. Mama Margaret had enlisted the help of several boys and set to work the day before. Quote, "But ravioli need something to wash them down," end quote, the kind gentleman remarked. So he sent a good supply of excellent wine, a product of his own vineyards. As evening approached, he gladly joined them at dinner. The boys' festive chatter was like the chirping of so many birds, broken now and then by cheers hailing the Marquis. A true and innocent carnival spirit reigned. The boys may have been overjoyed that day, but the Marquis's happiness was even greater. He had made those poor boys happy, and they in turn would pray that God, in His mercy, would admit the Marquis and his family into everlasting happiness. Not a bad arrangement if you ask me. Men like the Marquis Fassati were instrumental in Don Bosco's success. They donated time and money, certainly. They also were willing to risk their good reputations when Don Bosco came under attack from the leftist politicians. Marquis Dominic Fassati and others like him are truly unsung heroes. But I think it is important to tell their story so that it can become our story too. Children have remained unchanged since Don Bosco's time. They still must be caught like flies with honey and games. All kinds of innocent amusements and tactful kindness are necessary to get their attention. Unfortunately, without the help of people like Marquis Fassati, the streets of our cities will be crowded with boys and girls who are ignorant of their faith, but wise in evil ways. A whole generation can grow up with no respect for God, religion, or law. Civil society can revert to paganism and barbarism, as we now see in many towns all across America. But this requires a great deal of time and dedication. Like Marquis Fassati, good Catholics can make sacrifices today, in proportion to their means, of course, to win the youth back to God, their country, and heaven. If we delay any longer, it will be too late. Ignorance, the internet, and plain old laziness will lead many young people to a life devoid of purpose, perhaps even to the loss of their souls. Stories like these remind us that everyone has a role to play in saving souls and guiding young people to the faith. Marquis Fassati did not keep this wisdom to himself. He shared it with others, and that's how his story reaches us today. If this story touched your heart, would you consider sharing it with others? Perhaps you know someone who works with youth, teaches catechism, or simply needs inspiration to step out of their comfort zone to serve God. By sharing this video, you might inspire them to become another unsung hero in their own community. Click the share button below and spread this message of humble service. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on our next inspiring story about the miracles and prophecies of Saint John Bosco. Together, we can help restore the faith in our communities, one share at a time. The story of Marquis Fassati teaches us several powerful lessons. True nobility of soul lies not only in titles, but in service to others. Every person, regardless of their status, can make a profound impact on young souls. Simple acts of kindness like teaching catechism or providing a special meal can create lasting memories and spiritual fruits. As we face the challenges of our modern world, let's remember that we too can be unsung heroes by dedicating our time and resources to guiding young people back to God. The need is just as urgent today as it was in Don Bosco's time. What part of Marquis Fassati's story inspired you the most? Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Saint John Bosco, pray for us. May God bless you, and Mary Immaculate keep you under her mantle. God love you.